Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're about to get started. If you guys need to go to the bathroom, I don't know if you already know where it's at. You go outside, go all the way down to the left, and it's at the end of the hallway on the left-hand side. Hopefully, you got to enjoy some of our bites and drinks. But thank you all coming out to Book Leggers today for another Creative Mornings. This month's theme is soft. And as some of you may know, there's other chapters that are talking about this theme in their own creative way, in their own chapters across the world. And the theme is actually very interesting because I think that some have certain associations with what soft means, right? And I think the interesting way to think about it is soft isn't about weakness at all. It isn't about being, meager or anything like that. Softness comes from the understanding of hardness, and it's really understanding that contrast, and that sometimes you have to go through hard times to truly understand how to be soft, how to be empathetic, how to kind of, put yourself in a position to understand and let your guard down and be vulnerable so that others can truly connect. Because it isn't, when you have a hard wall in front of someone, it's very difficult to even have that conversation or get to know them. And so something to take away today is like, how can you implement softness into your life, into your craft? And how do you put that in your own way? Because everyone's going to have their own approach to it. Some people are raised in ways that it's very difficult for them to let their guard down and very difficult for them to be able to have that connection or just be vulnerable in that way. And I think that that's just something that we should encourage, that we should, allow people to have the space to be soft. Because that's when their truest form and when you feel the most comfortable to be your truest self. And today, again, soft is a theme. To give the little spiel, Adobe has always been a partner for us. They encourage creativity, and we have some people that are here that went to Adobe Max and found out about us. And oh yeah, amazing. So we're always hosting these every month, and Adobe's become our global sponsor, and they're always finding a way to provide resources. You go online, they have obviously their membership, but they do other things like having this new apprenticeship. And if you go online, you can check it out. They have resources for people to kind of like, from designers to photographers, video professionals, all that stuff. Check it out and learn more. And I think that there's definitely things that are worth using in your day-to-day life. Again, I wanted to make this clear. Like, this is not just a small little thing. Creative Mornings is in over 250 chapters across the world. If you can see talks like this, we're recording this one today, but you can see them online on the website and on YouTube. So you can see, people from everywhere having these conversations. So it's great that you can tap into, somewhere in Colombia, Hong Kong, Lisbon, anywhere you can check. There's really a chapter. So if you happen to be traveling and it's close to a Friday, you may want to check in, and maybe you can pop into one of these and learn about who's speaking over there. Again, the way that we promote this is always like, bring a friend, tell a friend. It's really about word of mouth. You can follow us online on Instagram and also check in to, we'll be like letting people know when these events are happening. But again, and also we're always trying to grow the team. If you want to volunteer, you can reach out to me. You can send an email, and we'll find a way to grow this community, because there's always ways to improve it. And again, if you're gonna post anything online, oh, you want to go back? Sorry, yeah. So it's Miami@creativemornings.com, or me directly at my email address. We'll reach out. We'll connect, and we'll find ways to join together. And yeah, if you're going to be posting anything on Instagram, this is our Instagram handle, Miami_CM. Okay, and then without further ado, so Schneur, he is an industrial and product designer. He has his own practice called DBS Studio, and he's brought today, some of the prototypes and things that he's going to talk about how you go from this idea, this concept to a physical format that then you iterate and you grow on. And it's also like, I'm sure you've created these things at times and you have a mold that's like too hard and it breaks. And then you have to find like, oh, how do I like soften that? Or how do I find a way to like make it work or make it malleable for everyday use, right? Because you can't have something that's just gonna break if you like run into it or, so it's really about understanding materials, understanding daily use and just like even the physics of it, I'm sure. So, also I want to give him a shout out, recently engaged. So let's give a round of applause. His beautiful fiance is here. So a lot of growth. I'm sure that was an amazing moment for you guys, and I'm happy for you. But without further ado, I'll let Schneur take the reins here.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
yeah, you jump out of that. And file. Oh, click on this first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There it is. Perfect.
There you go.
Well, thank you, David, for the intro.
For sure.
Happy to be here. Been attending Creative Mornings on and off for about 2 years. So honored to be able to share my story and what I do with you all. So thank you for coming. So with the theme, I think there's a lot of overlap with design and softness when it comes to understanding who your target audience is and who your end user is for the product. And I think that's hand in hand with empathy, right? So that's really getting to know who you're designing for and how you can best understand their problems and solve for that. So today's presentation is both our process and the design process from just an idea of a product all the way to a manufacturable object and design. So we're going to talk a lot about empathy today at the core of the design process. The title of today's presentation is The Space Between Idea and Object. And this is how we navigate from concept to a marketable product. So before we jump into the actual design process, I wanted to bring up something that's really important in design in general. It's called design thinking. Design thinking is it's a human-centered iterative problem-solving process that's used in design and business. A little bit of a tongue twister. So this is really where that empathetic part comes through with any problem that you're trying to solve, right? Who are you solving for, and then how do we get there, right? So it's really backwards. You're starting from the end and your end user, and then you're working back on understanding their problems, and then working forward to solve for those problems. And that's generally broken down into 5, kind of categories. Empathy, like we were just mentioning, which will come up again, which is understanding the user, their pain points. Define, which is actually understanding and defining what that problem is. Then we go into ideation, which is how we're exploring ways that we can solve that problem. And then we're going into the prototyping, which is implementing those problem-solving solutions into physical attributes, right, and components, like we have on the table here. And then there's testing, which is actually getting the user's feedback and test, and then eventually going into market with that. So we're trying to problem solve all the way and get as linear as we can to an end goal that is efficient and working. So we'll do a rundown here of DBS's kind of process within this landscape of getting to a product that aligns with the user and is solving an actual problem. We use design thinking not just in creativity, but to align design with business goals. It's very important that when clients approach a design team, they have a certain business goal that they're trying to reach, right? How many users are they trying to have use their product? What kind of price points are they trying to get their product landed for, and then what are the margins, or what are they trying to sell it for. If it's on for mass manufacturing or it's for a small batch manufacturing, the design process is the same, but that does have to do with the budgeting that goes to, smaller batch, more unique products to things that are produced at large scale. Price differences vary in that. So that happens through the design development roadmap, okay? That is broken up into 7 stages. Again, this is kind of in flux. Everything is approached as the best way possible, and it's very collaborative. So if there are issues that you find while you're prototyping, you can go back into the concept world and kind of just loop within those 3 phases there before you're even talking to a potential manufacturing partner. So this process starts with the research and opportunity, which starts with who are you designing for, what is that market. We'll jump into a little bit more of that detail in the next slide. What exists in that space, what are the opportunities to deviate, how can you create something novel and new, which is interesting to people and that connects to those people. Then we go into that concept design, right? So now that you have this general idea of what you want to do, you can start hitting the pen and paper, whether that's digital, analog, AI, which is a really good space for that early concept design. Into phase of the development, prototyping, again, those kind of loop around there as well. If you have a prototype in hand and you're seeing that, in real life, right, you're looking at CAD a lot of this time, which is your 3D drawings and renderings, and then you're actually getting your prototypes in hand. You can see that things are a little bit smaller in person than you would like them to be. There's your opportunity to make these things larger. What materials are you going to be using that have the allowances for specific tension points, right? Where are you starting to move these products? And so you could design a little bit more robust in those areas, but keeping the overall design intent always at front of mind. Design for manufacturing is really when you're at the end of this process where you're breaking the components down into manufacturable files and then sending them for samples and then hoping that they come back how you've wanted them to come back. And that comes a little bit more seamlessly as you build relationships with factories that you're working with, whether that's locally, whether that's domestic or overseas. That is a very important part. And then finally, we get to production. So our approach involves analyzing the market trends, studying competitors, understanding consumer behaviors, identifying gaps in the market and emerging needs. Again, this product that we're showing here is actually something super unique. It's a foldable dish rack. Okay, so it's actually meant for space saving when you're not, when you're not drying dishes. Yeah, it's a great product. It was really fun to design. This was kind of like a couple concepts that came about as we were trying to understand how to solve that problem. Everyone knows that they have limited counter space. And they hate that their dish rack is taking up a huge part of that all the time. A uniqueness about this one here on the left, it's got a little hole on the top. So we designed this little peg that you can connect to your wall, and then you can actually fold this rack and stick it onto the wall. And it actually stores this way as well. So if you have it on the wall, you can still have this is the prototype here. Okay, and you can still have your silverware kind of just hanging on the wall. She's like, I need it. And some other unique design points here, which came about through the prototyping, was where is this silverware cup best fitting within the design? We've actually made it so that it can fit anywhere you want it to. So it's very modular in that sense. On the sides, across, maybe you have 1 cup, maybe you have 2 cups. It's kind of just very modular and space saving. Within that research, it's very important. I actually really did want to start this presentation with a question on who actually has had a product idea that they were interested in pursuing potentially.
I have one.
Great. Okay, good. Because we're gonna have question and answer after. I'd love to know if this helps you kind of understand that process, and if you've done any of that, and where you're at on that, if you are. So it's, this is good feedback for me as well. So competitive analysis is who's your competitors in that space. What is that market size? What's the segmentation there? This is kind of like your end business goals on is this a profitable thing? Is this not a profitable thing? It could be a passion project, which is totally fine. It's just a matter of how you're coming about the approach for that specific product. Jumping into a little bit more technicality is you want to research on if there is any patents that are inhibiting you to get into that space specifically. There's always a ways around patents, but they do break down into two specific categories. There's a utility patent and a design patent. Design patents are protecting the actual physical kind of look of the product, and utility patents are protecting the actual functions of the product itself. So if you have a product that is, the space saving in its right, so you're using that. This is a space saving product that that functions this way and it connects that way. You're protecting the entire way that this interacts, right? If I just had a design patent on this, then there's an ability to copy certain aspects of that by changing some of the form. But when you protect the utility of it, that is also protecting the way that it functions and what the problems that it's solving. These are separate categories and useful for the specific products that you're working at. And there's something called the provisional, which protects you for the first year while you're still developing the product. So you're not paying that full fee on a utility patent, which can get costly, but you are protected to develop and share that design while you're still developing it. So concept is a really fun part of the process. This is like when you get to just explore a wide range of ways to accomplish this design. Starts on paper. You can, no one's bad at sketching, right? I mean, a squiggly line is interpreted to whatever it needs to be. Believe me, I've seen it all, and it's really fun. It's really fun. I wouldn't tell anybody not to try to draw what you have in your mind. It's a great way to get out ideas. And explore those, right? So we're able to take that also and kind of develop those based on that. It's a very fun exercise. The prototyping is this was a little video, but it's not playing here. But it's when we actually start to get things in hand. This is done through 3D printing locally. We try to keep this all in-house as much as possible, keeping the product protected, keeping the idea protected, until eventually it needs to go out of our doors or out of wherever it's being designed. But this is when we can test things. This is a bath toy in the middle there. This is a baby bath toy. So it's a little floating duck, which you can use as scooping water, and then kind of just have these ducks around the.
Duck in a bathtub.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We nailed it. It's a duck. It's a floating duck, which is actually it's a little bit harder than you think for the physics wise. We had to actually thicken the tail, lengthen it out so that it would have a nice, so it doesn't sink and float forward. There's always excuses if it sinks forward. The duck's thirsty. The duck is thirsty. He wants to drink. It's fine. It can drink. Let the duck drink. That was a fun issue we were kind of encountering when we were prototyping. So that allowed us to kind of iterate rapidly on extending the tail, extending the body a little bit, shortening the head, shortening the tail. It was a fun iterative process there. This was a wash cup that goes near the sink. It's a Judaic ritual to wash the hands. So this was, do the handles fit correctly? Is the spacing between the hardware correct? And then obviously the manufacturing allocations to the actual material, the lucite, which is an extruded plastic. So that was designed for a specific material, which was fun. So then we go into what's called design for manufacturing. This is when you're taking the components and actually once they're ready to go, as much as possible. No product is ever finished. Just keep that in mind. No product is ever finished, but it is as close as it's going to be. At this point, it's checking all the boxes correctly. We jump into manufacturing drawings. which is interpreted by the manufacturers, which is really, really cool. It's the way that the tolerances and the all the dimensions of the product are laid out on paper. Section views for when you have little details there within these glasses. There's a lot of material transitions happening. With thicknesses and radiuses, those are all very important when you're designing eyewear specifically. Little details are really what shines. So these are very important to highlight within the design itself. And then you get back manufacturing samples, which get in hand, and this is really good for the clients as well to get those in hand and test them out. There's still going to be iterations that happen at this point, so you're jumping back into prototyping a little bit more, but you're trying to get, at the end of the day, as close as you can to exactly what you want from the manufacturers there. So jumping back to the start of the presentation, design thinking is that empathetic approach, right? So you want to understand what those goals are for the product, for the launch, and be able to better fit the product market, right? So product market fit is an important term in product development, which is understanding that market and fitting it correctly so that you have good feedback and that your company is able to grow and thrive. Higher customer satisfaction and brand loyalty, right? When a customer actually gets what they're expecting from the product, it's a huge compliment. And then it's reducing the risk by testing and integrating early, which is why we use this design process to be able to mitigate those issues. So tying it back into that kind of softness, like David was mentioning, for the theme is empathy is really, really at the core of the design process. And then it goes into the fun part of exploration, of developing, of prototyping, of testing, and aligning with those business goals. It's very important to know what your allocated spending is, and then try to fit within that, right? If you have a certain budget for that product, whether it's your first product or you're an e-commerce brand, right? You know what you want to be making, so then you can start from the end. I think it's a great way to mitigate, right? At the end of the day, you come in without that budget in mind, you're like, wow, this is really expensive, right? So you want to be able to approach that from the end, knowing what that price allocation is, what the budget is, and then we can work and figure that out. And then this is just a little bit about where DBS lives. Mostly we're doing a lot of products in the kitchen space. This is a Dutch oven we done a little while ago, influence from Le Creuset. So this is a cast iron Dutch oven. This is a luxury packaging. This is a metal fragrance packaging. And we've done retail displays, baby products, which we're working on now. Very exciting space. Great market. Parents love buying things for their kids. Same with the pet toys as well. So a lot of room for innovation there as well, right? How does your child grow with it? What are the materials that are making the products last? What are the safety constraints and what environment is it living in, right? Does it need to have a small footprint? Is that not necessarily a requirement? So things like that are really exciting for us for the opportunity there. These are some of the things that we work in our contact. I'll come back to this in 1 second, but I do want to open up the floor to any questions that you guys might have on the process, or if you want to jump back to any of those specific
I have a question. As far as manufacturing, is that offshore manufacturing or, yeah?
Yeah, it's a blend. It's a blend of both. I think there's clients and customers that are very adamant about keeping that domestically as much as possible, which is completely understandable, and I like that as well. Pricing is always the game in that space, but there are certain categories which domestic manufacturers are really the best at. So, I mean, there is plastics manufacturing here. When it comes to plastic manufacturing, the pricing is similar, but it's the mold costs, which are a lot higher domestically. For whatever reason it is. It's why a lot of products are going overseas. It's just, it comes to pricing at that point. We try our best to locally source and try to fit that budget correctly, but it is always that game, right? Domestic and overseas, I mean, manufacturing is top notch, right? That is something that has kind of happened over the past 50, 100 years, and we just can't compete in that sense. So we are trying to bring that back here, but there is a big price gap there. Which then gets into the conversation of tariffs and shipping and all that stuff, which is...
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because right now it seems like it's a huge hassle.
It is. It's almost doubling the cost of goods coming in right now. So we are trying to locally source that, but there's still the issue of the materials coming from overseas, right? So the machinery, the domestic stuff that we're actually producing here is upcharged as well because they're paying a premium on just getting that. So metals and steels, if you can get them locally, is your best bet. They're in high demand, but we do produce that here in the U.S. So.
And then one day the tariffs go away, and then it's a disaster.
And then it's a disaster. Yeah.
I'm dealing with it right now with a client. It's just a hot mess.
Yeah. It's a navigating game. It really is. And at the end of the day, price of goods goes up because the price of production and development is higher.
So now with this 3D printing, how much better is this for you? I mean, as like the process goes and having these machines to develop this, like how long does this take? Like the glasses, for example.
Yep.
How long does that take on the machine?
Not very long. You could print this out in I don't know, an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're not doing that for production.
Right. Just
prototyping. Right. Correct. Those are prototyping.
Yeah,
if you were to start a line of 3D printed glasses, right, you could produce, a couple hundred a month, right?
Pretty good. I thought it would take a little bit more.
It depends. It depends on the quality. This is not built for using right now. There's no hinges in here. There's no, there's the infill, which is, you play around with to get the correct density so these don't crack well.
And on the other
they need
one,
to be
you
tested.
had a note that said 10% infill. Is that why it's so soft?
Yes, so 10% is actually thicker than we wanted. So I had printed these out in different density infills. This is a material called TPU, which is a is it a corn-based rubber? It's got TPU is it's a rubber material, and it's 3D printable. Very efficiently, and we're actually designing a therapeutic pillow that is going to be used for drivers and mostly in cars and trucks. So it's designed with an angle down, which is towards the back of your leg here, so it kind of hugs the back, and it pushes the front of your leg slightly over towards the brake area, which increases braking time, it increases blood flow. These holes were designed for the material itself, the EVA foam that it's going to be in. So that we have some extra allowance there. But this is actually a little bit thick for what we want, but you guys can test that. This one here is a different infill composition, so it's much softer.
But
it's the same concept, yes. Yeah, but that actually, the printer didn't do so well on the outside of that, so it's got a rough feeling. But you can compare the difference of infill levels on those pillows.
Styrofoam. That's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah. No, you can try to pull that. You won't be able to break it easily.
Right,
Yeah, that's all just infill levels.
It's like one of those like hacking, like shipping stuff that you get.
Got a challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Go for it. Yeah, so generally 3D printing, I mean, the technology now is very advanced. There's a lot of materials you could be printing in, rubbers, plastics, metals, ceramics, things like that. The most efficient and cost-effective in-house right now is PLA, which is a corn-based plastic. It's more biodegradable.
Is that the one that most people use? Like
Most people, yeah. So that's correct.
That's on their own.
That's the material. That's PLA, FDM, which is filament-based, right? So it's taking the spool and then it's heating it at the nozzle, and it's kind of building upwards. And then you get into resin printing, which is a resin bed, so it's laser printed where it's pulling out and it's burning the material upwards, so you get no printing lines. It's actually really, 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 really seamless. It's used in eyewear. These are not, but it's used in eyewear because you can get extremely good surfaces on the prototype finish. Let's see if we have that. No, we don't have that in here.
Have you heard of a company called Arcade? It's basically you can go on and say like I want you can type something in like Gen AI, and it's gonna populate it's like
Ideas.
right? But what happens is that it can connect you to an artisan that can make that.
Oh, very cool.
So if you're looking for something specific, instead of like old school, you'd walk into a jewelry shop or something and go looking at what everybody has. But then you're like, I want something that kind of looks like this and this. Now you can do that, and you can even have reference images.
Yep.
And it'll pop things out, and then it'll price it, and it'll connect you with somebody that can create.
That's very cool. Yeah, no, I don't know them. I'll check them out. But there's a lot of really good AI softwares now that you can prompt engineer to get really high quality images. It's not at the level of manufacturing by any means.
This is more of like an artisan.
Correct.
Like if you wanted a certain necklace with like a whatever, right? And
Right.
like religious or whatever. You can have it and then do that. Okay, more of this, pick one.
Right.
And then it'll connect you with someone that
can make it locally. Cool.
Like just that one item.
Great reference.
Yeah, it's super
Arcade.
cool. Arcade.
Very cool.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
First, legal, you said that there's like a kind of a workaround between the patents, depending on using the design approach or the utility approach. Is that the way to try to circumvent some things from product that looks alike?
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you want to start with your research in that space. This is the government website for searching patents. It's a free resource there. You can go in and type, push bottle soap. Like there's just a bunch of keywords you could use. It'll bring up as much as you can. You could use AI for that as well, and see what's protected there, and then kind of navigate through that space to make sure that you're not overlapping on anything that may have an issue. You can check when the patents were initiated, kind of what the lifespan of those patents are. Design patents are just for the actual design of it, of itself. Here for inventing new, original, or ornamental design for an article of manufacture. So it's more about the exterior of the product itself. It's not protecting what that product really does.
Somebody else can do the same
By change.
utility with different look.
Exactly. No, the same. No, different look. Correct. Same utility with a different look. If there's no utility patent on that, correct. Whereas a utility patent is a much stronger patent protection on that,
Too, right?
and much more expensive. Yes.
And you have to keep that up like every year.
No, you get a 10-year patent, I believe.
that's what it is.
Yes, you get a 10-year patent. Design patents are around, between $700 to $1,500.
But then the lawyer is.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need a lawyer for a design patent. If you have drawings, you can kind of just submit it yourself. I would recommend a lawyer. You can pay them hourly. It's not like a big deal, but utility patents is where you're going to be spending a lot of your the resources on the patenting. You got to get creative with the way that you're explaining the patents, each part. What do they do? How do they do it? How could you protect like a big umbrella around that product so that people can't really get in there? It still gets copied at the end of the day, and then it's just a matter of how much time and resources you're able to fight that, or how quickly you can catch it.
Develop a line of artwork that could be used on clothing. And a guy I know from Hong Kong, he said, listen, give this to me, we will change, we can have 16 different colors, because we have these huge pools of dyes and stuff.
Yep.
But then how many you want? I said, well, no, I will try 100. Said, no, we're going to print minimum 10,000.
Yes.
So we're going to keep the other ones.
Yes.
And we sell them there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he
yeah.
used everything.
No, it's crazy. Yeah.
He was open to,
Well, at least he was honest with you.
100 picture, 100 product, but
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna print massively.
Yeah.
Then we use that to
Because
sell.
that's when it becomes affordable for the most part, right? Like if when you go from the 5,000 to the 10 to the 50,000, that's when you're really able to get the good pricing on the product that you want. So it's the machine timing, it's the programming, it's the mold making or the tooling and things like that have to get set up, and they have to run it as well. So if you're going to a manufacturer and you want 1,000 pieces, they have to stop their whole line. Right? Correct. They won't do it mostly unless you have a really good connection with them. All right. So
The creative question: How are you or is AI getting involved now in research and all this stuff that the previous? Because that reaching eyewear is nice, but how does it look in terms of design?
Yes.
Is it going to be a
Yes.
beauty? How has it been in the past or the future?
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we always get this question, and every industry is getting this question now as well. It is definitely, there's a lot of programs, Arcade, Viscom. These are programs that are really good at interpreting your prompt into product renderings. So they can give you visuals on that, and you can iterate on those in a very like chronological order, which is kind of like a flow map of just like ideation, which is how we do our stuff as well. So yeah, it's being leveraged a lot, definitely for research. AI is great for market research, for patent research, for early level concept. We don't integrate it as much just because I love the concept design ourselves as well, and I like to be able to like own that as much as possible. But if it's not for a client, I mean, I've definitely messed around with it. There's a lot of really cool end games to do that. So you can come to us with AI renderings, and we'll be able to kind of like reverse engineer that to get to a product.
Is Arcade like the program from AI renderings?
No. It's just it's kind of like a marketplace website that you can go in and prompt, and then it'll pop up some ideas for you, and you can say yes, no, and then once you get something, it will connect you with somebody that can create that item, whether it's jewelry or whatever. There was like categories that this company Arcade was doing.
Yeah, Viscom is the one you might want to check out. Viscom, VISCOM, Viscom.ai or something, and it's a really cool, just like open platform. What's the word I'm looking for? Just an open like workspace, right? Blank workspace. You can just drop in a prompt, and then it spits out 3 images, and then you click on that one and you say change this. It's very iterative. Yeah, very, very cool. And you can even get rudimentary 3D from that as well. Yeah.
I'm curious, can you talk a little bit more about your business model and like whether, it's a consultancy fee that you charge, or you get some licensing fees?
Sure.
And profit,
very.
The product becomes successful, and how do you find your customers also?
Yeah, great questions. All great questions. So we are a consultancy. We work on different models, right? So if you're a startup and you're like, hey, we want to give you some equity and we feel like that's a product we want to work on, that is a route we can take. Generally, we're a design fee. So depending on the complexity of the product, that ranges pretty vastly. And it also depends on if you want DBS's help in connecting with manufacturing and overseeing the manufacturing as well. So there's a lot of different ways to work with us, whether it's like, hey, I want a concept design all the way to here. This is the budget. I want to be able to build a presentation deck based on this for investment, right? So you could bring this deck with a realistic product in a prototype or in a sample level, and then take that and then come back to us when you're ready for manufacturing. We can get you to that stage. We can take you all the way to manufacturing. We generally don't work in electronics right now, just because that's a whole other beast. So we're in like kitchen products, baby products, home goods, inventions, things like this, which are unique, that can be very unique and forward. And as far as finding our clients, it's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of branding, speaking to e-commerce people, right? So if you're an e-commerce brand and do really well in the kitchen and space, and you've been just sourcing product that you haven't necessarily designed, but you see opportunity to design your own product, and you have already manufacturing kind of integrated into your relationships, that's a really good space for us. They have the budget for development. We can explore those different options. We can do a line of product at once. So if you're working on, you want 4 different types of things. In the baby industry, we're working on 5 different types of products at once. So it's a little bit more efficient for them and us to create like a family of product that's able to be launched at the same time. Things like that. And we're a consultancy. So if you had questions about design, or you want some pointers, that's totally, we're open to that as well.
It's downtown.
We're located right here. We're very close. Happy to have everybody over at the studio.
The address on your
That's old, actually. Yeah, you're good catch. She's very good. Our address now is not this one. This was when we were downtown. Yeah, I did. I moved. Yeah, I moved out of there. I met Carrie almost 2 years ago, right? A few years ago. Yes. So no, we're in Little River right now. So we're actually 10 minutes from here. 300 North East. If you shoot us an email, we'll tell you the address for sure. Shoot us an email in the It's in the signature. Yeah. Oh, is it? Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying like just email us. It'll be in my signature.
Yeah, 100%. Correct. Do whatever you need to do. Contact. Our Instagram is dbs.studio. The bottom one there, _ if you want to follow us. Did I answer all your questions?
So sort of.
Okay.
Like if the product becomes hugely successful.
Yeah.
Do you benefit from that? Or?
We benefit as a company. We don't take percentage generally. It depends on the contract. Yeah.
Does your logo appear anywhere
No.
on the product? So it's all
No.
white labeled?
It's all white labeled. Correct. We do have some in-house products that we are working on in development and in manufacturing with. But all of the work that we do for clients is white labeled. Yeah, we're an industrial design consultancy. So we're really not recognized at all unless we share it on our end after it's okayed from the client. So yeah, you work with us, and eventually it'll end up on our website at some point. If it does, our website's being remade as well, so don't mind that. So yeah, white labeled. Yeah, unless the company's like, hey, we want you to be part of this business. It takes a lot of our resource because it's a continuous relationship that happens over a long time. It's kind of a little bit of a easier model for us to just be done with the design once it's manufactured. Yeah. So it just allows us to continue working and not have the clients be part of, we're dealing with them for 10 years. Obviously, we want all of our products to be success, so we're working hard to do that. But as
There's
that
a
far.
different concept of a product being successful, but then the sales part of it. It's
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we don't handle any of the sales or marketing. All that's like, we want the client to be really good at that. That'd be great for us as well.
So an update or an upgrade on a product you design would be like a second consultancy
Yes.
project.
Yep. Absolutely. And we always try to actually lower the features on the first product so that you can get it out and have it be efficient and work and get that kind of feedback and customer feedback, and then able to do a V2, a V3, which will probably happen with that pillow as well. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
So I do want to give a huge shout out to Bookleggers for
Bookleggers.
hosting us.
Thank
We
you.
have Daniel here, who was a former Creative Morning speaker, actually, and it's kind of crazy how back then, this was such a small concept, and where it's at right now is incredible. So
2015, I did Creative Mornings actually in the front of the bakehouse.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
We were there.
we have me and George were here. Yeah, we were both here.
Wow.
So anyway, just a quick intro to us and what we do. Bookleggers, the Miami's first and only free bookstore. All the books here are free.
Cool.
We're open here now 5 days a week, and we do a ton of programming around the city and other organizations and businesses. And we do anything from parks, bars, galleries, nightclubs to prisons, homeless shelters, children's hospitals, and all kinds of at-risk work. So all the books are free, and I know you guys are super excited to be inspired for product ideas. So there's plenty of them on the shelves here that you can look through, and just let me know what you think. So thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. So stay tuned for the next talk. The date's being finalized, but it's likely going to be down the road at Las Rosas. So Las Rosas just reopened, and one of the co-owners is going to be the speaker that day.
Oh, Adrian?
Adrian,
Is it gonna be an outfit?
So yeah, it's just the background. I don't know if he's gonna be in full garb. So he's worked in food and beverage for a while as an operator, as working in it, and he's also he moonlights as a professional wrestler. So you'll get to see the dichotomy of that. So hopefully you guys can make it. We'll do it probably right before Thanksgiving so that everyone is able to make it. But again, thank you all for making it out, and hope to see you at the next one. Have a great weekend.
They're gonna do a morning.
Yeah, he's gonna open up early for us.
Nah, she doesn't like that. She wants to be at night.
It's good because it's hard for you to make it at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait. Well, it's a